We have some breaking news to get to here on Golden State Warriors today as the reigning NBA champions have added to their roster, and really what it's going to be is a training camp body for the Dubs. This coming from NBA insider Adam Schefter. Yes, this is an NBA channel on Warriors Today, but did you get that sense of humor there? Adam Schefter is an NFL insider. Somehow, though, he does have some NBA sources. He tweeted this out here on Wednesday afternoon that former Clippers lottery pick Jerome Robinson signing a one-year deal to go to camp with the Golden State Warriors. Per sources, Warriors do have a level of familiarity with him because he did play last year for the Santa Cruz Warriors and now will be competing for one of the remaining open roster spots. And really, Jerome Robinson hasn't done much in his NBA career. You can classify him as a bust since being that lottery pick coming out of Boston College last year with the Santa Cruz Warriors. Didn't really do a lot to impress this organization in terms of making the NBA roster, but the Dubs saw at least enough to bring him in as a training camp body to compete and just be another guy who can partake in some of th'ese practices. Now, if you ask me, I don't think the Warriors are actually going to have Jerome Robinson on the NBA roster once the regular season does begin. 6'4", 190, does have some combo guard skills, played his college basketball at Boston College, but once again, he was taken way too highly for what he's actually done throughout his NBA career. So that's the latest acquisition for the Golden State Warriors. Coming up next on the show, going to talk a little bit about another young player and Patrick Baldwin Jr. because the hype about him is real. We'll also get to the latest on James Wiseman and a potential trade for Jakob Poeltl. That's why you subscribe, youtube.com/Warriors TV. Hit that red sub button, and let's get to the rest of today's show. Dub Nation, what's up and welcome in. You're watching Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. Been a little bit since we talked last, but I hope all of you have been doing really well up until that last show until now. But really excited to bring you all of the latest Warriors news and rumors on today's show. So without further ado, let's trot out today's lineup. So going to talk a little bit about Patrick Baldwin, the first round pick for Golden State, selected at 28th overall, garnering some hype up to this point. Also going to discuss James Wiseman, a little bit of an update on him, and then I do want to break down some just outright ridiculous James Wiseman trade ideas that came from Bleacher Report. Everybody wants to continue to talk about Wiseman getting dealt. He's going to be on this team, and in fact, I think he's going to have a breakout year in year 3. First, though, we do have a trivia question. We will reveal the answer to this trivia question later on today's program. In what city were the Warriors first established? Get your answers in, and then we'll let you know the actual answer at some point during today's show. A little bit toward the end, a little bit of preview there. But we begin with Patrick Baldwin Jr., who by no means went to a basketball powerhouse, but according to the San Francisco Chronicle, he has heard strong reviews from the Warriors' first-round pick. And I'll get into my thoughts about the Warriors' selection of him and the player that I think he can become. But first, here's what the San Francisco Chronicle had to say about Patrick Baldwin Jr. In his limited time with the team, he is impressed with his basketball intellect and performances in individual workouts as he continues to recover from an ankle injury that cut his freshman season short at Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I've been shocked by what I've seen in an exciting way, one Warrior staffer said. And I was excited about the pick at the time. This is a guy who went to Wisconsin-Milwaukee, but was a highly touted recruit coming out of the high school ranks, didn't go to a basketball power or a blue blood program. He instead wanted to play for his pops. Now, a couple of things happened that led to his numbers being down during his only season in the collegiate ranks. Had to deal with COVID, had to deal with the lackluster supporting cast, had to deal with some injuries, and that's why he put up these numbers of 12 points per game, less than 6 boards. The shooting numbers were abysmal at 34.5% and sub 27% from downtown. But what I'm excited about is that this guy has skill. This guy has ability. He has size. He can shoot. I think the defensive upside is certainly there. Sometimes he was asked to be the primary offensive creator. That's not going to be his role at the NBA level. His role at the NBA level, knock down some threes, play make a little bit, play a little bit of defense, and I have full faith that this Warriors coaching staff can work on those shot mechanics to increase that shooting percentage. As for James Wiseman, another young player on this team, trade ideas from Bleacher Report that I have to just rip apart coming up around the corner. But this is what the San Francisco Chronicle had to say about James Wiseman, that he is aware of the areas of his game that need to improve and is really starting to make some headway this offseason following his debut at the Las Vegas Summer League. Though the Warriors still don't know what kind of production to expect from the 21-year-old center or which lineup combinations in which he fits best, they remain confident that he's on track to reach his potential. And the potential for James Wiseman is limitless. We're talking about a 7-footer who's light on his feet, has good footwork, can protect the rim, alter shots around the basket, block some shots, but also run the floor in an extremely athletic fashion, has some spring, has some explosiveness, and then offensively, pick and pop, pick and roll. Those types of actions will be beneficial for him. I hope that he becomes a better passing big over time, but I'm also really excited about the offensive potential in terms of the shot, baseline, mid-range, all around the three-point arc, and those are things that I think will come around for James Wiseman as he gets more experience. And he doesn't have that experience because of the injuries that he suffered up to this point in his NBA career, and because he only played a couple of games at Memphis his freshman year, which then led to him getting drafted number 2 overall back a couple of years ago. Still to come on the show. Don't go anywhere. Keep it rolling. Hang out with me. Bleacher Report, 2 Warriors trade ideas, both involving James Wiseman, one of them for a player that I like, but for a player that I wouldn't trade James Wiseman for. First, though, want to hear from you in the comments section. We're talking about 2 young players on this Warriors roster right now, in Patrick Baldwin Jr. and James Wiseman. Who has the brighter future among these 2? B for Baldwin, W for Wiseman. Let me know down below in the comments section. And yes, I did say it's been a little bit since we were able to talk last, but been really busy taking over a new channel here at Chat Sports, talking some NFL. We're in the doldrums of the NBA offseason. Still, though, bringing you consistent Warriors coverage year-round. Make sure you subscribe as we continue to grow. Just surpassed 45,000 subs. I want to challenge you. If you like the Golden State Warriors, how many subs can we pick up with this video? You tell me. Hit that red sub button right now. To that Bleacher Report trade idea. This is just crazy. Never in my right coherent mind would I make a trade like this, where the Warriors receive Mason Plumlee, James Bouknight, and 2 future first-round picks in exchange for Jordan Poole and James Wiseman. Who would ever think about even making this? Maybe if you're a general manager for the Sacramento Kings, you'd think about making this trade, but that's because the Sacramento Kings are a disastrous basketball organization. Zach Buckley, though, made an argument and made some points as to why he would at least think about it, and I don't want to hear any of it, but I'll relay what he had to say. It's possible Golden State simply opts to pay everyone and stomachs another gargantuan tax bill, or the franchise could start exploring some escape valves. If the Warriors opt for the latter, that could put Poole on the chopping block, and in this deal, they'd also part with promising but raw James Wiseman. In return, Golden State could collect a plug-and-play rim runner in Plumlee, plus multiple cost-controlled assets down the road. But this is why this Bleacher Report trade idea sucks. It would never happen. It's unrealistic, and it doesn't make the Warriors better in a time when they are trying to once again run it back and compete for another NBA championship. And I like James Bouknight coming out of UConn, but in year 1, he didn't show a lot of promise for me. Has some decent size. He can certainly fill it up, but that's one of the players that I'm getting back. And for Zach Buckley to say that Plumlee is a good rim runner and plug-and-play player, he ain't better than James Wiseman, cuz those right there are facts. You know what's awesome? Not that trade idea. This deal, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Gold-blooded Golden State Warriors championship t-shirts that were $35. They are now on sale for just $14. Wait, what, Chase? What'd you say? They were $35. On sale now for just $14. That's 60% off. Did I do the quick math in my head, or did producer Sam Brown do the quick math? I failed elementary algebra in college. It was him. Either way, it's a phenomenal deal. That's what I do know. Head to chatsports.com/goldblooded. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. You can wear this shirt forever, right? Because the Warriors are always going to be champions of the NBA during the 2021-22 season. Okay, to another trade idea. Jakob Poeltl is a player who I really like from the San Antonio Spurs. I like him on this roster. I like the fit. I like the ability. I like the versatility to his game. I think that San Antonio has done a good job of developing him. I'm not trading James Wiseman, a blue-chip young player and prospect, for Jakob Poeltl, though. And 2 second-round picks, you got to at least give me a couple of first-round picks if I'm going to make a trade like this. But once again, it's Zach Buckley on the beat, and I'm not sure if maybe he started sipping a little lean, if he was listening to Lil Wayne, but these trade ideas are insane. If the Warriors are less than convinced that James Wiseman could play a meaningful game in a title run right now, in a meaningful role, they could think about maybe flipping the number 2 pick from 2020 for a more established producer like Jakob Poeltl. The Spurs center may not have as much name recognition, but he's stabilizing and has a stabilizing presence at both ends of the floor. And as I said a little bit earlier just moments ago, like Jakob Poeltl is a really good player, but you know what he is, and you probably don't max him out any further. Now, you put him on this roster as another big on this team with Kevon Looney and James Wiseman. I absolutely love it. 13.5 points per game last year in 68 games, nearly a double-double with more than 9 boards, almost 2 blocks per night. So defensively and offensively, he can certainly make it happen. He can also knock down about 62% of his field goals, but James Wiseman's potential is limitless. Jakob Poeltl, there's a ceiling over his head. So here's that trade idea once more, and it's just not something that I would ever explore. I understand that from a win-now perspective, you might try to bring in a veteran to help this team, but also, even though James Wiseman is a little bit inexperienced, the upside of him and the impact that he can have on this basketball team far greater than what Poeltl can bring to the floor because Wiseman is so gifted. I told you earlier about that trivia question. We're about to reveal the answer. In case you missed it, though, in what city were the Dubs first established? Did you get your votes in? Do it right now. And don't do it after I reveal the answer, because if you do that, you're a fraud. In what city were the Dubs first established? The city in which I grew up in, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They were the Philadelphia Warriors at the time, and if you remember, Wilt Chamberlain was balling out way back in the day with the Philadelphia Warriors. If you got it right, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video and let us know. And before we get out of here, did you subscribe to the channel? Did you like what you saw today? If that's the case, then hit that red sub button.